Welcome back, class 8th. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm proceeding on with lesson 9, that is carbon and its allotropes. This is the picture of graphite, which is another crystalline form of carbon, and it is a natural crystalline form of carbon which is greyish black, shiny and soft substance, and in texture it is slippery to touch. I had shown you the occurrence, that is distribution of diamond in the world and as well as India. Graphite is also found in Sri Lanka, Siberia, Russia and India. And India, graphite is found in Jammu and Kashmir, Bihar, Odisha, Rajasthan and West Bengal. Now, graphite is artificially produced by heating powdered coke, and coke is another allotrope of carbon only, amorphous allotrope, and this coke is heated with a small amount of sand and ferric oxide in an electrical furnace at a temperature of about 3000 degrees Celsius. So, what is the reaction that takes place? That is, the reaction that is going on is the reaction between carbon and sand. The formula is SiO2, that is silica oxide, and when this is heated at 3000 degrees Celsius, then silica carbide and carbon monoxide are formed. This silica carbide combines, or it reacts with, in the presence of ferric oxide, that is Fe2O3. It is heated to form silicon and graphite is formed. So, this is how graphite is artificially produced, that is by heating coke with a small amount of sand and ferric oxide, and this is done in an electrical furnace. Outline diagram is given in front of you. Then the most important part is the structure of graphite. In this picture you can see that graphite consists of layers of carbon atom, as you can compare it to diamond, where you had seen that diamond, just because of the tetravalency, what is the arrangement of the carbon atoms, that is, it is arranged in the form of a tetrahedron, while here the graphite consists of layers of carbon atom. This is the first layer, then second layer and so on. So, each carbon atom in a graphite layer is joined to 3 other carbon atoms. You can see this, a single carbon atom over here. If you compare this single carbon atom is joined to 3 other carbon atoms, 1, 2 and 3, that is 1, 2 and 3. Again in turn this will be joined to 3 others. So, this continues and it is in the form of a layer, and each carbon atom is joined to 3 other carbon atom by strong bonds. These bonds which are existing between these carbon atoms, they are strong and they form flat hexagonal rings. Flat hexagonal ring means, this you have studied, what is a hexagon? A 6-sided figure. So, a 6-sided figure or hexagon are formed and they arrange themselves in the form of flat hexagonal rings. So, 1 electron of each carbon atom remains free. We all know that carbon has a valency of 4. It has a valency of 4. So, these 4 valence electrons are not involved, only 3 out of the 4 are involved in the formation of bond, which arrange themselves in the form of hexagonal rings, while 1 electron is left free. So, this single electron, that is 1 electron which is left free, this is responsible for making graphite a good conductor of electricity. So, just because of the presence of 1 electron which is not involved in the bond formation, this aids in the conduction of electricity, and this makes graphite a good conductor of electricity. Apart from this, the layers of carbon atoms in graphite are held together by weak forces. Now, one layer, this is the first layer, then the second layer. So, these layers are held together by weak forces, and because of the presence of these weak forces, what is happening? The layers can slide over each other. So this make them a very good lubricant, just because it gives a soft and slippery texture to graphite. So both the properties, that is the one electron not involved in the bond formation but left free, makes graphite a good conductor of electricity, while the second property, that is the layers are attached to each other, or they are linked to each other by weak forces, which helps them in sliding over one another, hence making the graphite soft and slippery. So this will help in the property of lubrication, that is helping in decreasing the friction between surfaces. Is that clear? So this is the structure of graphite. And the different properties of graphite. You all have the best example of graphite is you have seen the pencil lead that is containing graphite. So it is grayish black, lustrous and opaque substance. Grayish black, as the color you know pencil lead. Lustrous means having a shining texture, and opaque, then light cannot pass through it. It is opaque. It is soft and slippery due to its sheet like structure, which I have shown you just now, and its density is 2.39 gram per cc. 2.39 gram per cc. This is the density of graphite. It has a high melting point of 3700 degree Celsius. This is the melting point of graphite, and it is stable to heat because of strong carbon-carbon bonds. The bonds which are occurring between the 3 carbon atoms of a single carbon atom with the 3 other carbon atom, they are strong. So making graphite stable to heat, that is heat does not affect the structure of graphite. It leaves a black mark on paper, as you know, when you write with a pencil. That is a property which is making which is being used for writing, that is leaving a black mark on paper. Then it is a good conductor of heat and electricity just because of the presence of the free electron, and it produces carbon dioxide gas when it is burned in air. That is carbon, that is graphite is a form of carbon. When it burns in air, it forms carbon dioxide. So these are the properties of graphite. Then because of these properties, where is this particular allotrope used? Now these are the crucibles which are made of graphite. I have told you that it has a very high melting point of 3700 degrees Celsius. So it is used to make crucible. Crucible are used for different heating purposes. They are used in industries as well as in the labs. Mostly these kind of lubricants, crucibles are used in industries only, for where it has to withstand a very high temperature. Next use of graphite is, that is you have seen those cells around you, that is used in torches and in remote controls. What are they containing? They are containing graphite inside them, which acts as a electrode, just because it is a good conductor of electricity. Hence it is also used for making electrodes of electric furnaces also. Apart from these dry cells, then it is used in the form of pencil lead, that is graphite marks black lines on paper. Thus it is used for making pencil leads, and we can easily sharpen the pencil lead. It is because the graphite layers slide over each other. Is it clear? So it is used as a pencil lead. So graphite is soft and slippery in nature with high melting points. So powdered graphite is mixed with petroleum jelly to form grease, and this grease is used as a lubricant for moving the parts of machines. And even graphite lubricant, powdered graphite lubricant is also available. What is the function of lubricant? When you have seen the cycle chain, and the cycle chain around it you have seen grease over there. So that is a mixture of petroleum jelly and powdered graphite. Is that clear? Now what does this lubricant do? It reduces the friction. Otherwise, if there is no lubricant, then that chain is easily going to break. Is that clear? This graphite is also used in making carbon brushes for electric motors. These are the brushes which are used in the electric motors also. Apart from this, graphite is also used as moderator, that is, it is used in to slow down the speed of neutrons in nuclear reactors. Is it clear? So these are the different uses of graphite. Then you can go through the differences between diamond and graphite, that is, you can go through the table on page number 131, figure 9 table 9.2. Then moving on to the next allotrope, that is fullerene. So fullerene is the third crystalline form of carbon. They are a large number of carbon atoms held together in a cage like structure, which you can see over here, forming a cage like structure in fullerene. H. W. Kroto, then R. F. Curl and R. E. Smalley, they were awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry 1996 for the discovery of fullerene. Is that clear? These three people were responsible for the discovery of fullerenes. And a fullerene containing 60 carbon atom, I had shown you, is called Buckminster fullerene, and it is named after an American architect, that is Richard Buckminster Fuller, who designed the dome similar to those of fullerene molecules. So carbon atoms are arranged in Buckminster fullerene in hexagons and pentagons. They are arranged in the form of hexagon, that is 6-sided figure like this, and in turn they are again forming pentagon, that is 5-sided figures 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they repeat themselves and they form a cage. It can be prepared by condensation of vaporized graphite in helium. So it can be prepared by condensation of vaporized graphite in helium, and it is also found naturally in interstellar, that is, it is situated between stardust and in some carbon rich rocks. So this is the occurrence of fullerene, and it is also found in soot, that is the smoke that comes out of the chimneys. What are the different properties of fullerene? So fullerenes are of different colors, and the color depend upon the number of carbon atoms present in them. They are of different colors. So fullerenes are more reactive than diamond and graphite. Their cage like structure breaks on heating up to 1000 degrees Celsius. As in the case of graphite, you had seen it can withstand heat as high as 3700 degrees Celsius, while in the case of diamond it also has a very high melting point of 3550 degrees Celsius, while the cage like structure of fullerene can easily break on heating up to 1000 degrees Celsius. They are soluble in organic compounds, solvents, and the specific gravity is 1.8 to 2.11. This is the specific gravity of fullerene, and they do not conduct electricity and act as insulators. They act as insulators, that is, they do not allow the passage of electric current, while some of them act as superconductors at high temperature. A few of these fullerenes can act as superconductors. What are superconductors? So what are the uses of fullerene? They are used as dry lubricant and in cosmetic, and some compounds of fullerenes are also used as superconductors. So we will discuss the exercise on page number 131 and 132 in the next lecture, inshallah. Let us proceed on with the amorphous forms of carbon. So amorphous form of carbon is what? That is when the constituent particles, that is whether in the form of atom, ions or molecules of a substance, are not arranged in a geometrical pattern and they do not form a particular shape, the substance is called amorphous. So the amorphous form of carbon are coal, then coke, charcoal, lamp black and gas carbon, which we will discuss in detail in this chapter. Let us first discuss about coal. So I beg your pardon, coal is a fossil fuel. It is a fossil fuel, that is what of fossils, that is the remains of animals and plants, and when they have been decomposed for millions of years, they have resulted in the formation of these fuels, that is the fuels which are being used. Fuels are the substances which are used for giving energy in the form of heat and light. So coal is a fossil fuel and it is a hard and black solid. Is that clear? You can see this one. This is a hard and black solid, and it mainly consists of carbon. Along with carbon, it contains hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, and it is found in Russia, USA, South Africa, Australia, China and Germany. And India, it is found in Jharkhand, West Bengal, Odisha and Madhya Pradesh. So this is the occurrence of coal and how coal is formed. Now the formation of coal, it took place millions of years back. Now about 300 million years ago, the earth had dense forests. These were the dense forests, and due to natural calamities like earthquakes and eruption of volcanoes, these forests got buried under the soil. They got buried under the soil, and due to high pressure and temperature, very high temperature and extremes of heat, these forests got converted inside the earth in the absence of air into what? Into coal. That was millions of years back. And how did this take place? It took place in several stages. It was not a single step that the dead remains of plants got converted into coal as we are obtaining it today, but it took there were several stages in this. So the slow chemical process of conversion of remains of dead plants into coal under high pressure and temperature is called carbonization. So this is the slow chemical process of conversion of remains of dead plants and dead plants into coal under high pressure and temperature is called as carbonization. Then carbonization is a very slow process and it takes millions of years. So depending upon the extent of carbonization, coal is divided or classified into 4 different types, that is peat, lignite, bituminous and anthracite. So you can see that peat at a very high temperature and pressure, it has plants have converted into peat, and this is light brown in color and has less than 60% of carbon. And again this is subjected to high heat, high temperature and pressure, and it is converted into lignite, which is brown, and this contains more than 60% of carbon. Again this is subjected to high temperature and pressure and is converted into black carbon, which contains 70% to 90% carbon. You can see over a period of time how the amount of carbon is increasing, and when this is further subjected to high temperature and pressure, it is converted into anthracite, which contains more than 90% of carbon and is black in color. So these are the different stages of formation of coal, that is peat, lignite, then bituminous and finally anthracite. So what is peat? Peat is light brown in color. It is formed in the first stage of formation of coal. It has 50 to 60% of carbon. This contains 50 to 60% of carbon, as I had shown to you just now. Next is lignite. This is brown in color. It is the second stage in the formation of coal and it has more than 60% carbon. It has more than 60% of carbon. It is harder and has better burning efficiency than peat. Next is bituminous, is black in color and it is the third stage in the formation of coal, and the carbon content is about 70 to 90%. It is the most common type of coal used by the power plants and it is also used as household fuel. So this is one of the important types of coal, which is used both in household as well as in the power plants. It produces both volatile and non-volatile impurities. Is it clear? On burning, it produces both the kind of substances. Then it exists in different varieties such as high, medium and low, depending upon the percentage of carbon present in it. And next is anthracite, that is, it is hard, dense and black, and it contains more than 90% carbon. This is the purest form of purest form of coal, and it takes time to catch fire, but once it catches fire, it burns for a longer time. So this is the best form of coal that is available. And the different uses of coal, that earlier coal was used to produce steam to run the steam engine. You must have seen this in your books also, and these type of engines were used where coal was used to power them. Then it is used in thermal power plants to produce electricity. This is the picture of the thermal power plants, and the coal is used in such plants to produce electricity. Then you must have seen in old houses or where chulhas are used, or in villages if you have visited, this kind of chulhas are used, and where coal is used for cooking. Coal is used as a fuel for cooking. And then it is used in industries to produce organic compounds like benzene, naphthalene and aniline. Then it is also used for preparing coke, coal gas and coal tar, and it is used to manufacture drugs, synthetic textiles and perfumes. These are the uses of coal. Please revise it, and we'll continue with it in the next lecture. Allah Hafiz.